Looks like it's that time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the little animals who are gathered around the radio, your computer, your FaceTime, your YouTube, wherever you're watching us, how you're watching us. Good morning. I'm Bryan Main, Tiger Palafox, John Bagnasco. We are broadcasting live, by the way. You consider this your pool house, Tiger, inside your pool house?
Yeah, we thought it'd be a little bit more cozy in here.
It's warm in here.
It's foggy outside.
Fog advisory.
Was there?
Oh, an advisory.
Did you have fog driving down?
Full sun.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Full sun till I got to just south of Mira Mesa.
Wow.
Because
okay.
it was clear until I got to Arrow Drive, and then you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. Wow. But it dissipates just like that. You can now. You got all your fingers?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you got all your fingers, all your digits. Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome those who are just joining us, those who are first-timers, and those that we've never heard of before, but occasionally John will get emails from people that we never see their name on our Facebook page during our show, but there they are.
Yeah.
You are.
It's nice to know that
Can you
somebody's
see John okay?
listening.
Yeah.
Scoot back here and get comfortable.
Here, take a listen. See if you can play with that a little bit. Give Bryan something to do.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
So, John,
Yeah.
It was sunny at your house.
No, it was dark when I left.
Oh, so but it was clear at your house. You know.
It might have been a tiny bit overcast, but by the time I got to I leave my house at 6 in the morning, so
Right.
it's still dark.
Still dark.
Yeah.
So this is kind of more of a coastal fog thing then. It seems.
Yeah,
like.
by the time I got to the freeway, the sun was just starting to come up, and then and it was clear. I didn't hit any fog at all until I got to Mira Mesa.
See, and when I went into work yesterday in Mission Hills,
Yeah. Paula, by the way, says good morning from sunny Fallbrook.
Oh, see there
So
you go.
yeah,
But
Are you talking about the room noise?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't know if we need to bring it down a little bit.
No, I don't.
No.
No, I just think we lack acoustics. That's
Yeah.
okay.
But when I went into work yesterday morning, the roads looked like as if it had just rained. That's how much like dew was there in the morning. It didn't seem foggy yesterday morning. Today it seems more foggy than it does yesterday.
What have you got against dew?
Well, like, it's funny when like you come from different parts of town,
Right.
and your area could be warm and dry, and then you can go into another area and it's damp, and like it looked like it had rained.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, because I get up in the morning sometimes and I see the same thing.
Yeah.
I get that it rain. It's just heavy dew. Speaking of that, I realized yesterday, I want to get your feedback, both of you, that I haven't watered my plants for maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I know we had a few hot days, but I feel like I need to water them. But then I get up in the morning and it's very heavy dew. I don't know. This time of the year, we talk about the biggest mistake people can make is to keep watering.
And I'm right there in the same page with you, where my pots,
Yes.
I kind of stopped watering them.
I noticed the one over here on the left.
A little droopy. Yeah, exactly. You know what's
I don't
funny,
know.
though?
That's an
That
indicator
one,
plant,
Look
John.
at that one right there.
Yeah.
And then look at the one on the other side of the gazebo. It's perfectly fine. So that one just is
the one I was talking about's not droopy. I think a better adjective would be crunchy.
I think a little crunchy. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, what is this over here to the left?
Fiddly fig.
Now, that big fiddly fig, didn't we have a giant one in the lobby of iHeart?
Yeah.
In the corner?
We still do,
Still
don't
do.
I don't know. I haven't been there in a while.
Exactly. But
we? You refer to it as Ficus lyrata.
Yeah. Or don't fiddle with my fig.
Yeah.
Thanks. But I mean, a lot of my potted plants are plumeria, and I really worry about overwatering them right now as they kind of get into the wintertime. So, I mean, that's where, we talk about this before in the show, where it's critical to use the right type of soil when you're potting plants, because people say, oh, well, I'm going to use a potting soil in this, even though it deserves a more well-draining soil like a cactus mix or something, because, I'm going to not water it as much. Well, that's all fine and dandy in the spring and summer when the water dries up and it's fine. But in the wintertime, like where you're running into, I'm sure if you were to
It's still moist.
dig into your pots, they're still damp in there.
Plus, I have a little compost or bark,
on top.
a little bit of bark on top, so it's retaining. Yeah, that's interesting because even when the weather was a bit warmer, and I would water the potted plants, then I'd go underneath the stairway, the eave where it's kind of protected, and the soil was still moist.
Yeah.
So yeah, just be careful this time of the year.
I'm getting the feeling that you guys did not have the same weather that I had at my house last week.
Definitely not.
'Cause
you're dry.
Well, we were in the 80s all week.
Oh no, we were like late
and you had a
high
little
70s.
breeze.
Oh, a lot of breeze.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh, my
really sucks
gosh.
out the moisture. And so, but you go from watering your roses once a day to twice a day to what are you doing it now? Once every 3 days?
The ones down below by the chicken coop are once every 3 days, and the ones on top are every other day right now.
Yeah. See, so that's actually like a lot less than than what you were doing.
That's all you do during the warm months in summertime. Where's John?
He's watering his roses.
Yeah, but he's been out there for 2 hours. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, he just got started.
And sometimes I have to decide, do I water by hand? Is it less time to water by hand or to try to figure out the timers?
That he has to start right when he wakes up at 4 a.m. I love it.
I'm learning more and more about the timers as I took the instruction booklet and threw away 3/4 of it.
Well, it was all in a different language.
Right.
What were you reading, German?
Well, no, that's what I mean. You got all these different languages,
Yeah.
and I never realized that. To me, it was just
Massive
overwhelming to go into this. All these pages.
When the whole thing is explained in 2 pages.
Well, it's
Even,
probably
right?
about 4 or 5 pages instead of 50.
You know, and we've talked about this before. I mean, this is a gardening show where we try to answer people's questions and help them solve problems.
Right.
And we are here for you. If you have a question or a problem, please ask it. We will answer
Oh yeah,
it.
absolutely.
But at the same time, you know, John's issue with the timer, I mean, there's so many wonderful YouTube videos on, you know, how to operate this timer, how to do it. And it can take it from like a technical, like you could find the people that like,
Yes.
like Hunter is the company that produces this timer. They have videos that they've presented themselves.
Did they make the fans as well?
Hunter? No.
Oh, different.
company.
Okay. I was gonna
But
say.
they have good technical videos on how to operate these timers and do these things with their devices. But at the same time, then they have videos on YouTube that it's like John who tries to explain it in very layman's term to everyone else on how to do it too. So
Yes.
so it's a great resource when you're having trouble doing something.
Because a lot of instructions now, whatever you might purchase, they say, where are the instructions? YouTube
It's
is
a QR code.
Right, YouTube's your instruction. Now, there's also those people. Let's say you just want to figure out, John, how to do something very simple on your sprinkler, like setting a time for to go off.
You know, I
or
went
go
to
on.
to the YouTube videos that Tiger's talking about that Hunter put out. To me, it was the same thing.
Yeah,
as,
it's
it's like
technical.
blah blah blah
But
blah.
but
blah.
here's my point, and maybe I'm hopscotching. Maybe I'm piggybacking on what you're saying, but you just want to find out one simple thing, and this person thinks they're a YouTube star, so they're talking for 15 minutes. It's like, dude, get to the point. Hi, my name is Bill, and
Sounds
okay,
like
Bill.
some gardening shows that I've seen.
Yeah, just get to the. What do we have, Joe? We got a couple of minutes until the break. Do we have any questions, comments?
Well, we have comments on the weather. Lisa up in Reading says it's 37 degrees there. And then Tanya said that they're at 40 in San Jose. So a little bit cooler than here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, generally speaking, it is, right? Up. Oh, look who's coming. The two dogs, the brothers, Chandler and Charlie.
They're on patrol.
Okay, so we've got about a minute or so, minute and a half until our first
Tanya
break.
also wants to know if you're going to do a walkabout.
There's not much to walk about, Tanya. This is pretty much it. Yeah.
This is a great little pool house. This is a great place if you wanted to kick back and stay here for a few
There's a lot
days.
in here, though. I mean, you've got a whole kitchen and
Bathroom and a bedroom, and
yeah. I think it's
we
really
can
nice.
take a look around.
it's very cozy here, by the way. Oh, but we should mention that we're going to do our best to bring on a well-known guest, right?
Yeah. And after the break, we're gonna bring on Ed Live.
We're gonna give it a shot.
It's the holiday season, so why not?
So we experimented a couple of weeks ago with John. Mm-hmm. John called in, seemed to work out, so we'll give it a shot with Ed Livo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John's reading. Yeah.
Well, I was just looking.
He's
at
engrossed.
I was looking at John from is it Southland Sod?
John.
Domenici?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Southland Sod, right?
Right. He said that we need to remember that plants and lawns don't waste water. People waste water.
That is true.
That is very true.
Yeah. And you know what? Ed is a great person to talk about it because he has the same kind of beliefs. So, yeah, it'll be fun to have him
And
on.
Kevin wants to know if that's La Jolla Cove above your head, Brian.
That's a picture that I was talking to John about prior to going onto the air where you could look at this, 2 or 3 people could look at that picture and see different things entirely. Speaking of different things entirely, how about a different break coming up? We do have to take a break for Biz Talk Radio. It's Garden America. Stay with us. We're going to do our best to bring on Ed Livo, that's his name, Ed Livo, after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. Stay with us. Okay, welcome back to the show. Those on Biz Talk Radio, thank you for tuning in whenever you can. We do have 2 hours, so hopefully your market carries both hours, or at least 1 hour. The rest of you on Facebook Live, thank you for joining us. Good to see so many familiar names, and occasionally somebody new that pops up. So, going to do our best to bring on Ed Livo. He is ready, willing, and able, and waiting. But first of all, John, everyone's clamoring for this week's quote. The quote of the week, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Begnasco.
It's hard to hear with all that clamor. The quote is by Luis Barragan, who I think is a Mexican architect. I'm not sure.
Louis, huh?
Luis, yeah. He's pretty popular anyway, or pretty famous. And he said that a garden must combine the poetic and the mysterious with a feeling of serenity and joy.
That's a heavy thing to handle right there, right?
Is it too early for that quote?
Yeah.
That's a
Jeez.
lot to handle.
No, 8:19 is the perfect time for that quote.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 8:20, but you know better than I do. Well, should we do this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do our best to bring on Ed Livo. I'm going to turn things over to you, Tiger, to get this thing started.
All right, let's do this test here. Ed, can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Wow, this is actually working. Amazing.
Good,
Ed.
because I can't hear, so I'm going to go on your cue and I'm going to go on the clock. So I'll let you guys know. And this is Bryan, by the way. I can't hear you, but Tiger and John certainly can, so you guys have fun.
Ed,
Wow.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. This has been a long time coming. Hope you're doing well. Happy holidays. Almost Happy New Year. So hold on one second. We're trying to just get John connected also here.
All right. Sounds good.
So how you been? How have you been? You've been doing a lot. I've been following you on YouTube and your social media. Everything's going well?
Oh, yeah. Staying busy. Absolutely. You bet. Enjoying myself as well.
Yeah.
And, just, when you retire, you have to figure out what you're going to do. Then once you figure out what you're going to do, then all of a sudden you don't have enough time to do it. I don't know.
I'm one step ahead of you. I'm already at this stage where once you don't know if you have time to do it, you start to not even know what it is you were doing.
Yeah. No. I can't agree with you more. I spend more times on the days where I don't have something to do, wondering why I don't have anything to do.
and then you start to worry that you forgot something that you were supposed to do.
No, it's crazy. It's just crazy. Hey, listen, let me add to your comment about watering. Guess what? Mm-hmm. So up here, we haven't seen water since about the 27th of November.
Yeah.
And so consequently, it's been dry. But we've had an accumulation of cold up here that has been outstanding as far as, dormancy is concerned. We've been below 45 degrees, for the better part of, I'd say, 3 weeks at least. So that the dormancy factor up here is going to be phenomenal for fruit trees because I'm always a firm believer in the accumulation of dormancy. Earliest in the season is the cold that has the most effect on next year's crop. So I think it's going to be a good year for fruit this coming season. But without all that water, I got to tell you something. My Oro Blanco grapefruit in containers, I have a grapefruit that's 48 years old in a container for 48 years old.
Wow.
Wonderful, beautiful plant, produces every year. I love my Oro Blanco. started dropping fruit.
Oh,
And
really?
So I went out and it's in a 25-inch round container. So I went out and I got my soil probe out and I just took a soil sample out of the container, bone dry.
All the way down.
Yeah, so I ran my irrigation system, John. My Hunter irrigation system. Do we get any points for that?
Yeah, right. We're accumulating them. We're going to send this show to them. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Especially the part where I said I can't understand your videos. They make no sense.
Yeah.
I'm 100% with you on that, man. I and it's amazing. You get yourself a library of information now, and like you said, 2 pages of it apply to you.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Ed, I love that you started off with the idea of the water, cold, and dormancy, and because people, they don't always think about that going into this time of year, where it's one thing to like kind of not need to water as much because it's cool or rainy. But it's another thing is that the plants don't need the water. Like, so I mean, I know you mentioned kind of more of the, stone fruit trees or deciduous fruit trees, but even like, you did mention your citrus, they do require water, but much less this time of year, right? Because they're kind of a little bit slower as well.
I think of course. And here I think it more applies to this. There's always a balance. Even in the summertime, there's a balance of how much water you're giving. And there's a balance in the wintertime as well. That balance just changes dramatically because, of course, you just have to keep the soil profile moist. And I don't know, moist is such a vague word to the novice gardener. That's a big problem I've always had, trying to convey what that means. But dry doesn't work in the cold because the plant needs that hydration to be able to take and, of course, warm itself during, the cold period. So if it doesn't have that hydration, it becomes an absolute disaster. Your fruit starts to drop. That's what my Oro Blanco was doing. It was dropping fruit.
It was cold and it was dry, and that's why it was dropping fruit.
Cold and dry, right. And the Oro Blanco is usually fine up here in the cold, but that long stint that we've gone without any rain, and typically I've shut my irrigation system off probably in mid-November.
Yeah.
So while we were in the midst of having all that heavy rain, so. Come on, it's the weather. You got to change with the weather. As a gardener, you got to change with the weather.
Ed, everybody knows that you just need to keep your soil evenly moist, but not soggy.
The term I use for that is damp like a wrung out sponge. Like if you squeeze a sponge
It's still a
and
little
water
bit damp, yes.
and water comes out, that's too wet, right?
Yeah.
But if it's just damp to the touch, then that's how you want to keep the soil. So
That's the answer in retail garden centers, by the way. You either overwatered or underwatered.
oh yeah, somebody comes into the
know-
garden center, yeah, for sure.
And both of them result in almost the exact same symptoms.
Yeah.
So it makes it real difficult to convey what the real answer is. But let me throw some confusion into the mix. I've really started to work on the notion that in container growing, we the idea of watering all the way through till the water runs out of the bottom of the container is almost bad for citrus especially. And I have probably maybe 20 in my collection now. My collection used to be as high as 40, but when I moved, I sold half of my collection to the guy who bought my house.
That's like John.
Yeah. So I've got half a collection, but I think citrus suffers in that lower third of a container in terms of lack of oxygen, and you just never get rooting all the way through, to the bottom of the container because it stays too moist. So I've really started to work more at short bursts of water to try not to saturate the root ball, but to sustain that lower as dry as possible without being.
Hey Ed, hold on. Sorry to cut you off. We do have to pause for a commercial break, and very information. I want to talk about that lower third of the container when you get back.
Okay, do have to take a break, as Tiger mentioned. Thank you, Ed, for hanging on. Standing by, we're going to take a break for our friends on Biz Talk Radio. Stay with us. This is Garden America. Welcome back to the show. After that break, it is Garden America. I'm Bryan Main, John Begnasker, Tiger Palafox. Thank you for joining us, and it's good to have an old friend of ours back on the show, Ed Livo. And again, Ed, thank you for being patient with us, as occasionally we have to cut you off or cut one of us off to take a commercial break, but we are back and ready to go.
And before the break, Ed was commenting on how growing his citrus in a container, the proper way to water, what he's kind of noticed. And you were describing an issue sometimes with containers in general where roots don't always grow throughout the container evenly or properly. And that's why you were kind of watering your citrus a little bit more shallow style versus like in the ground. We tell people, oh, deep water the citrus, you want to saturate them, then let them dry out. And in a container, you were saying that the roots don't grow all the way to the bottom. So you were kind of shallow watering. That's what you were describing, right, Ed?
Yeah, and I can tell you, there's a lot of more going into my thoughts on this whole factor, but I can tell you this, the biggest problem that I've always had with citrus is that I believe that there's a constant phytophthora going on in the bottom of that bottom third of the can. When we transplant citrus, typically that whole bottom part of the soil falls apart because of the watering style we use. And so I've really tried to modify my watering on my citrus collection now, where I'm doing short bursts and really trying to stick my finger in that drain hole down in the bottom and saying, am I keeping this lower third profile dry enough for the roots to get in and get established all the way to the bottom of the container. That's a challenge.
It is.
It is a challenge. But I can tell you, is it all right for me to say Gary Matsuoka?
It's hard for me to say, but it's all right for you to say.
All right, good. Because I have to point out that a lot of what he's been promoting with his soil mixes for years all of a sudden makes sense to me. And, other than the fact that it requires a lot more water, it seems, and also, a different style of fertilizing. My notion is that drainage factor probably plays into protecting the root in the bottom from getting that constant phytophthora battle that goes on in typical soil mixes.
And John's always been a huge advocate for well draining soil, because, that's, how you prefer to grow things, John, and you've always, been an advocate for that. And,
the only problem is that you have to water more often.
And that's what, Ed is saying. And the problem is in Southern California is we have this concept that we want this water retaining soil. We want to, you water less soil, all of this stuff. And, the problem is like what we talked about in the beginning of the show with this time of year, where that's great in the summertime, but in the wintertime, when that soil doesn't dry out for 9 months and there was nothing you did,
right?
That's your problem. And, that's what leads to the issues like what you're talking about, Ed, where plants just never develop these root systems. Or the biggest problem, too, is they develop the root system, and then in the wintertime, that root system rots out. So it's like almost double the damage.
Well, and I'll even add to that, Tiger. How about this? Well, then what happens is you get that extended wet period during the wintertime, and then, of course, the rains stop, and the tree's not showing, vigor and luster. Mm-hmm. And so what does the average person do? Start watering. Yeah. And so really the problem, if in fact, was consistent through the wintertime with, a good phytophthora going on at the bottom of the can, well, guess what? It doesn't go away. It just never corrects. So I just think that there's a lot more investigation. John, are you using mineral-based soils? Is that what you're saying?
No, mineral-based. Well, I use the Happy Frog from
Ocean
Forest,
Fox Farm.
Always a Fox Farm.
But no, John's just more draining. Like he's an advocate of more draining soil.
Right. You know what? I was thinking is that. It just slipped my mind now, but the people used to advertise with us, Tiger, that created kind of an upside down
John
cone.
and Bob's?
No.
An upside down cone that you put in the bottom of your planter.
Yeah, it looked like a street cone. or
Yeah.
like one of those little soccer cones.
Right, except there were holes all around it. And Ed, I'm wondering if that would solve part of the problem you have, because it creates an area in the center of the plant where oxygen, air is in that area, so might eliminate the some of the problems with Phytophthora that you're talking about.
Well, I'll tell you what, my pots are always elevated so that oxygen can get underneath. I mean, that's an important part of, eliminating that possibility or the problem. That's part of it. But I can honestly tell you this, that my mixes are real heavy in quarter-inch pathway bark or quarter-inch minus bark. So I modify all the potting soils that I use. I have for years to try to add a lot of porosity. I even use chunk core. I use a 16th chunk core in all my mixes. I use a 16th peat, and then I use, of course, the pathway bark as a third, and then potting soil, whatever, because I look at the most of the potting soils for long-term planting, like citrus, where you're going to have them in containers for years. I don't know if they satisfy that. They just turn to dust within a year or two, and I'm sorry, if I'm holding that, I've got citrus that's 50 years old in containers.
Yeah.
That I've maintained for 50 years, and I've used this potting mix that I came up with back in the 80s, with large particle matter in it, for years and successfully.
Well, when you have a 25-gallon container, you're not wanting to change that soil out too often. That's not an easy job there.
No, you can't. No, and there's no such thing as root pruning a citrus. If you've ever root pruned a citrus, you set it back 2 years.
Yeah.
So I high pressure wash the roots when I'm repotting them. When I'm putting in fresh soil, it's all high pressure wash. Get out with that water and just blow off, a third of the entire potting soil or the entire old soil, and then refresh it and put it back in the container.
Ed, when you were talking about you get an extended rain, maybe a week of rain, and then you don't have the luster in the leaves, and so people go out there and they water. I was thinking sometimes they add insult to injury and they mix fertilizer with it, and water at the same time. But
right.
That Lenore in Canyon Country just brought up a question, and she wants to know, and we probably should talk about it, that when's the best time to apply fertilizer to citrus, and it doesn't make any difference what type you use? Like, will the citrus be offended if the bag doesn't say citrus and avocado food?
To be exact, I don't use many. I don't use any citrus fertilizer. I use acid fertilizer, organic acid fertilizer, a couple of different brands. Fertilizer's expensive. I like on sale acid fertilizer is always good, as long as it's organic, because I'm eating most of the things that I fertilize. I'm also fighting a high pH water, in the area. So every time I water, I'm affecting the pH of the soil, and citrus likes to have a little bit more acids, soil to grow in. So I'm fertilizing in March, I'm fertilizing in May, and then I'm fertilizing in August, early September. So I fertilize 3 times a year.
So March, May, and August.
Mm-hmm.
And then
late February, early March, late May, early June, late August, early September.
And then Hastam in Pakistan wants to know about irrigation of citrus during the flowering stage. Is it change at all then? Do they require more or less water? How does that affect fruit set?
I don't know if I have an opinion about that. I don't know if I've ever really experienced more or less. How about you?
Well, certainly not in Pakistan.
Yeah.
But I would think that when plants are getting ready to set fruit, that they need a supply of moisture, but I don't think you want to overcompensate during that period. I would think
I agree. I mean, I do think that I have run into situations where when the plant dries out, you'll probably get some reaction that, flower drop and stuff like that. So you want to be even. You don't want more, you don't want less. You want to kind of keep it even through that time.
But I'm like Ed.
Yeah,
I haven't done any studies, so I'm not really sure.
And you know what? I got to tell you that watering to me
Hey,
is
hey, Ed. Before we
Yeah.
go too deep on that,
Yeah.
we are going to pause for another break because this is a great thing that I think people are going to want to listen to. So let's pause for another break right now.
Okay, let's do that. And again, I want to remind those on Biz Talk Radio right now, coming up next will be the final segment of hour number 1, and then news top of the hour, 6 minutes after we come back on your time. That'll be hour number 2, so hopefully you can catch the show. If not, remember these shows are uploaded, downloaded, whatever the case may be, onto our YouTube channel at the end of the segment, usually early afternoon. You can watch the show again, catch previous shows, and see anything you might have missed, any information, so on and so forth. So with that in mind, as Tiger mentioned, we're going to take a break for Biz Talk Radio, back after these messages. Okay, we are back from the break. It is myself, Bryan Main, John Bagnasco, Tiger Palafox, Ed Livo is with us. And so we're going to continue. Again, this is the final segment of hour number 1 for those on Biz Talk Radio.
Hey, Ed, before the break, you were talking about... Sorry, we were in discussion. And
Yeah, go ahead.
no, I just totally flaked on because we were talking about increased watering while flowering or decrease. And so the question from Astam in Pakistan was, should we increase water, decrease water, or keep the same during the flowering cycle in citrus? And we were kind of commenting that it's just best to keep even. Is there ever a time of year where you want to increase or decrease watering on a citrus, Ed?
I think weather dictates that. So, I mean, if you go into an extended period of, let's say, rain, rain, you're turned down, you're shut off anyways. But if you go into an extended period of heat and heat mixed with wind, I mean, now your evapotranspiration rate just goes up dramatically. And so you really want to be checking your irrigation to make sure that you adjust it if your plants are drying out at a faster rate. So the answer is yes.
Okay, so one of the things that I was going to ask you too, though, I mean, aside from weather, is there a time of year for the plant that you should increase watering? Like, meaning it's spring, the plant is beginning to grow, increase watering, and then, or when it has fruit on it, is there ever kind of that? Like, and same for stone fruit trees or deciduous fruit trees, like. Because, sometimes they say, Ed, when they're talking about harvesting like grapes or tomatoes, they say to stop watering right before you're going to do that so you can get the flavor to change. Is that the same with kind of fruit trees or no, not at all?
No, that's a commercial approach. A commercial approach is, pump water, get the size up as big as you can, turn the water off as you get close to harvest so that you increase the Brix and get the sugar up. Please don't grow your fruit trees that way.
Okay, got it. Okay. So.
I mean, my thought would be, try to maintain some sort of consistency. Keep the soil moist, and that's what I mean. The terminology that we use in the industry is so vague for the average, novice gardener. As far as watering is concerned, and the dramatic differences that can occur in California, like for instance where I'm at, and somebody asked, I'm up in Modesto, and one side of 99, the east side of 99, the drainage is amazing. I mean, we could water all the way to China. But on the west side of 99, it's hard pan. And you can't get that. And your plants are going to react differently and have to have a different watering consideration for those two soil profiles. So it's a tough question. I've even had to do this at the college level, where I've had to tell people, they want to know, oh my gosh, what's the magic answer to watering? Magic answer to watering is find out what your individual plants need in terms of keeping them consistently moist, whatever the heck that means.
No problem.
And then, and then incorporate mulch. Somebody else asked about what I do in containers. All my containers are mulched. Everything that I have on the ground is mulched. And mulch in California almost should be mandated.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, there's, like you're saying, just be smart with whatever it is you have, whatever soil you have, managing it, and, be willing to do the time and invest into learning about how should you water and what should you water, because paying attention to your plants is going to either save you a lot in wasted water, or it's going to save you a lot in replacing plants.
So again, let me jump in, Ed. I think what you're saying is a lot of people are looking for the basic general answer, like a cookie cutter template, but in reality, like you said, it all has to do with your own particular situation, keeping your eye on your plants. Not everything's going to work the same way for everybody, right?
Correct. Yeah, and I think it's great to have a good close relationship with your independent nurseries, because the independent nurseries typically have, experienced help that can give you advice, at least in becoming familiar with, what your soils are possibly doing in your area. I mean, when we tell people that, your drainage is poor in clay soils, I mean, people may know that, in the wintertime, but they don't realize that affects a plant during the summertime.
Yeah. Ed, I want to thank you very much for joining us. Do we have any more questions?
Well, maybe just one quick
Okay.
question. Tanya up in San Jose said that she's had some good results using Citrus Growers Blend is a fertilizer, and that's a collection of micronutrients. And I just wondered if you find that the micronutrients are maybe more important with citrus than some other plants, or does it depend on your soil?
Yeah, I think so. I like real high humic acid based fertilizers, kind of like what was it called, Grow Power.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Grow Power?
Yeah,
that was good stuff, man. That was really good stuff. Now I think I use I can't remember the dang name. I'm so terrible on names, but I use a particular variety of popular fertilizer now that actually is real high in humic acid. So I like that. That tends to, I think, break up a lot of the, or help to break up a lot of the minerals that are in our profile and help to make them available.
Yeah, definitely. And the Grow Power Plus is the one that was really high, and it even had a little bonus charge of humic acid in there.
Yeah, good stuff. Great,
But,
it was great stuff.
hey, Ed, I'm glad our little experiment worked this morning.
Which means we can do it again soon.
Exactly, and plan for it. We don't want to keep you too long. I mean, lots of great information and always fun chatting with you, and you're always open for it. So I want to thank you, and have a great holiday, Ed. And I hope your Oro Blanco citrus or grapefruit, sets some more fruit for you. I'm sorry that there was some fruit drop.
Oh, no, that's all right. Hey, have everybody check out my my YouTube page and Facebook and my Instagram page. It's all Ed, E-D, Able, A-B-L-E, Solutions. And, I'm posting stuff every, two times a week now. And we're really focused on citrus right now. I'm working with Fran's Nursery up here, which has been very gracious in allowing me in, and we've been doing some great stuff with my guests. I bring guests in all the time, so they're fun.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Great.
I will share that for sure.
Thank you so much, Ed. Appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, just in time to remind people that we're going to shut down. Are we going to shut down?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to shut down on purpose. This will be like, part one. We're going to shut down and then get back up again. It'll be just like two shows. So those watching us on Facebook, we're going to shut down on purpose. Give us about 2-3 minutes, maybe inside of 5 minutes, and then we'll restart the program again, log back onto our Facebook page. So with that in mind, we've got news coming up on Biz Talk Radio. We're back at 6 minutes after, if indeed your market does carry us as far as hour number 2. Stay with us. This is Garden America. Well, how about that? We are back for what would be officially hour number 2 on Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live. I guess we could call this part 2. Thank you for joining us, because as a reminder, we do shut down after the first hour, after the first segment, what we like to call part 1. Then we come back again and sort of reset the stage here. It's kind of a computer reset here on Garden America. So if you're just joining us on Biz Talk Radio, thank you so much. Those on Facebook Live, it's always good to see you. Yes, we can see you. We know that you can see us. Little known fact is that we can peer into your world too every now and then.
Yeah, you guys don't realize your cameras are on, and we're watching. We're watching right now.
Anyway, we are back, and thank you so much if you're just joining us.
I will say one of the things we do like to do is start the show again as we go live again with a little bit of just some banter, because I don't want to answer too many questions from the last show because people are still kind of coming on and finding us. But there is one comment from Dana that says, "How big is that couch? It looks like it's like 12 feet long." I don't know.
You mean
Dana.
it's a horseshoe.
No, that's called a chase.
Oh, is that? Oh, I see. It's
That's
separate.
a chase
Okay.
section.
Okay.
And then
that
this
you put
is-
together.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I got it. Okay. This couch here, that's not 12 feet, is it?
No, it's not. I don't think so. It's probably like
Well, I thought she was going to say it looks a little small. You guys are all snuggled up together.
We are snug as a bug.
It is.
Right
It's nice and warm in here.
Yeah, it's nice being in here compared to being outside, right?
Right. Now there's probably a little room noise, a
Yeah,
little
we gotta-
bit. I mean, because it's we got a high ceiling too.
Yeah.
So the higher the ceiling, the more sound is going to bounce off.
Oh, really? Is that the way it
So
works?
that's what I was told. No, yeah, the more confined you are.
Take a look at the joke from this week from
Not a joke,
your
cartoon.
cartoon.
Okay, first of all, every Tiger looks like Tiger. This is the best rendition of Tiger.
The best?
in a cartoon that I've ever seen. You're looking better, and I love. What stands out in this?
What?
Is the little flamingo? If that's what that is, that pink flamingo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an inner tube flamingo.
No broadcasting from the hot tub.
Yeah.
Something about electricity, right, John?
And it involves.
Yeah, you don't
involves
wanna
the
get
reaction-
shocked.
The reaction of humans and water and electricity.
So you bring up a good point, though. When we start with the second hour, Tiger, or part two, there could be some residual questions, or maybe we bring people up to date. Of course, we were talking with Ed Livo.
Yeah.
And Ed did give a couple of 2 or 3 of his, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube that he's doing, right?
Yeah, he's doing a lot of social media, sharing information with people, and
So
kinda
feel
like-
free to reach out to him.
And
absolutely.
And kind of like what we were talking about also with this idea that there's information out there and finding sources of information that help you understand what they're saying, because there's some technical videos, there's some technical information, and when you
Right.
watch it it doesn't really help you. Ed has a great way of explaining things that hopefully people will understand. One of the comments that we'll kind of break into now as people are joining the show is someone had asked during the last show. Let me see if it was Lenore or Tanya about layering with soil. And Ed was talking about how he's always an advocate for mulch whenever whether it's in a pot or for his citrus here in Southern California. And, just the idea that you're constantly amending the soil is going to benefit the plants in the long run. So always being an advocate for mulch, for putting down, whether it's a bark or a compost, could be worm castings, just all of that is going to be good for the soil in the long run. And remembering to do it, once a year, twice a year, because, our soil here in Southern California specifically is not very good, that it will never do harm in layering constantly with mulch. Unlike the Pacific Northwest or the East Coast, where they have this constant loam layer happening every year, we don't have that. So we have to synthesize that by putting down mulch.
Well, it's kind of what Ed was referring to when he said people want to know about what's too much water, how much do I water. Again, if I look at your backyard, then there's John up in Fallbrook, and then there's my house in the middle, and it's the same time of year, but I guarantee we're not all going to be watering the same, because
Right.
we have different soil. We're going to have different plants that need certain things. So yes, I know it's very simple. People say, well, how much should I water? Again, like Ed said, you got to look at your own situation. What kind of soil do you have? What kind of plants do you have? And then go from there and just pay attention.
Yep.
Pay attention to what's going on.
One of the things I was thinking of when Ed described his Oro Blanco grapefruit being bone dry when he pulled it out of the pot, I'm wondering during the winter, we know we need to cut back on water, but during the summer, you always feel the soils, to see if you need water. Don't you just?
Yeah. Why not do the same thing?
Well, I'm wondering if in the winter, does it feel cold, and is that close to damp, so that maybe down below it is bone dry,
but because it felt cold.
yeah, because
yeah.
it felt cold and kind of damp, like you're describing in the morning, Tiger, if we're not watering.
Now, you're not an advocate of, what do you call them, John? Stick into the soil, tells you if it's
Moisture meters.
Moisture. Is that so lame? Aren't they called like a something?
If you put it in the ground outside, the agricultural ones are called tensiometers.
That's what I was looking for, tensiometers.
Yeah, well, you don't use tensiometers in
But
pots.
anyway, a moisture meter. But you're not a big fan of that, are you?
No.
See how, here, this is funny because
brushes it
you expect to elaborate, right?
No.
He just turns his head and says, no.
I've addressed it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine interviewing John?
Yeah, it's not even a no. It's just no.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Can you imagine like if John's on the other end and you want all these, you have specific questions and you want these elaborate answers? And well, John, don't you
no.
think that it's a good time to do this? Yes.
Exactly. John, before we ended the interview with Ed too, he had mentioned grow power and the humic acid.
He's a big fan of that.
And it brings up.
Is Grow Power not made anymore?
No, it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you can still get it.
Okay.
And the humic acid, and this is something that we've talked about on the show a lot before too. It's not always about the NPK and fertilizers. There's a lot of NPK in our natural soils. If you're dealing with a pot, that's a different thing. You have to supplement the soil with fertilizer, meaning you have to supplement it with nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash. But in the ground, it's all more about releasing what's in the soil.
Right.
And humic acid is what releases it.
Right.
People don't realize that.
Yeah.
So, it's back to this idea that, you take care of the soil by, the proper watering, organic material, humic acid, worm castings, because in our natural, even though we talk about how bad our soil is, there actually is a substantial amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash in there that people can, tap into if it's just a matter of the proper way of taking care of it.
Yes, didn't you just describe the difference between organic fertilizer and chemical fertilizer, where one feeds the plant, the other feeds the soil?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. And we're feeding the soil here. We always talk about that because the plants are just going to do better. Long term, plants are going to do better. You're going to be more successful later on planting, watering.
And there's always something for them to reach out and take it up as they need it.
Yeah.
Whereas chemical fertilizer, I imagine, is here. It's like an injection. Here, this is going straight into your body or straight into the plant.
Mm-hmm.
I got a tip for people who live in the San Diego area.
Oh, yeah, the tip
right.
of the week. This is our new segment. I forgot about this.
The more you know.
The less you ask.
This is really good. If, in my opinion right now, the absolute best one of the best fertilizers, I guess we shouldn't talk absolutes, but I've never come across a fertilizer any better than this one that's made by Growmore, but it's not available.
Oh, it's the one
at
that
retail level. Mm-hmm. But if
They took it off the market?
no, it's never been on the market.
Yeah, it's just for the
it's for the big boys.
San Diego Rose Society.
I think they might use it commercially in farming. I'm not sure. But if you join the San Diego Rose Society, which costs, I think, $20,
Which is a good bag of soil for the most part.
and that's for the year to join. But
Yeah.
you don't have to attend the meetings, but it does allow you to buy this fertilizer. And they need the order in December. You pick it up in January at Ruth Tiffany's house in San Carlos. And I can't imagine a better fertilizer. Not only does it have the humic acid you're talking about, all the organic sources of nitrogen, it's got a ton of beneficial bacteria and fungus in it.
It's got the whole ball of wax, as you like to say, the whole 9 yards. We have to take a break, John.
All right.
Are we going to elaborate on that after the break?
Probably not.
Okay, that's easy. All right, 'cause I like to, point us back into the
Only
same
because
direction.
I won't remember.
Okay, we're going to take a break for Biz Talk Radio. Thank you for joining us. Those on Facebook Live, back after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. Welcome back to the show, Garden America. How about that? Broadcasting from Tiger's Pool House here in San Diego, California, in case you're just joining us or are not familiar with our surroundings, and you're one of those, we call them peekaboo listeners or peekaboo viewers, John, those that come and go. We're not really familiar with their names, but they are out there, and they do watch and listen to us.
Not only do they listen, they also bring us back to reality occasionally.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I made kind of a sarcastic comment there at the end, right? About probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. No, I
Yeah.
didn't know that was only because your memory, your short-term
Right.
memory is a challenge.
Yeah. So Lisa goes, "What a tease!"
I think, you know what?
It's just like saying, "Yeah, I want to stay tuned.
Yeah.
I want to stay tuned to hear nothing."
You know what? That's very
Thank you,
intuitive.
Lisa.
That's very intuitive,
Yeah.
Lisa. I like that. That is good. That is good. But we were talking about moisture and watering and fertilizer. Basically, the fertilizer you can only get if you're a member of the San Diego Rose
Yeah,
Society.
and as a matter of fact, if you want to
Coastal Rose Society.
if you want, no, San Diego.
Oh,
Rose
I was right
Society.
the first time.
Yes, you were.
I'm usually not right the first time.
But but if you Google San Diego Rose Society, up at the top, you can pick, I think, fertilizers, and you can read a little bit more about it. By the way, Tiger, you were asking earlier about waiting for people to join us before we got into things. I did have a comment from Torch Lake, Michigan, which was, "Yo, bro."
Oh, perfect. Done.
Yeah, that was my brother.
So to get into the comments and questions right now, Lenore wrote, both of my lime trees that I transplanted into dirt suffered 2 to 3 completely dry branches. So, this is something that does happen when people transplant in general sometimes. In trees, or like fruit trees specifically, have this issue where when you do transplant, and Ed was talking about this, about citrus, that they don't like their roots cut. They don't like the roots damaged.
What did he say? It can set it back 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And it's because each one of those roots for a citrus is feeding a part of that tree. And if you cut off one root, expect a branch to die. Like, not just be damaged, but actually die.
What? Okay, help me out here. Why would you want to cut a root to begin with?
Well, I mean, Ed was talking about more like in transplanting containers,
right?
And
you're
trying to fit it into a pot.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Some people will talk about, well, it's in the ground, and maybe they're planting something nearby or digging for a pipe, and they'll be like, oh, I'll just cut this citrus root,
right?
In a normal tree, like a pine tree or something, it probably wouldn't matter,
right?
But a citrus, you'll have a branch die after you cut that
because
root.
because each root is doing one specific thing for that citrus tree.
Exactly. And so Lenore was talking about transplanting, and I'm not saying she cut the roots, but sometimes it's not a matter of cutting. Sometimes it's just damaging,
right?
So you have to be very delicate when you transplant citrus. To keep the roots intact. I would even argue, because you, like Ed mentioned too, you very rarely ever see a citrus tree that you buy from a nursery root bound. Always the soil's falling away from that citrus tree. For some reason, the roots never really grow down all the way in. People get really weirded out because they have this citrus tree, they take it out of the pot, and the bottom of the pot soil is just loose soil. There's no roots in it, and they're like, oh, I got chinsed out because they didn't root this tree properly. No, they're just normal. It's very normal for that to happen. So when you're transplanting a citrus tree, you have to be very delicate with protecting the roots. And I will say, Lenore, though, that it didn't kill the tree. It's just damaged. Yeah, you probably cut off that branch, and now you'll move on, and the tree will grow, and it'll be fine. But that probably
it's going to take a while.
Yeah, probably was from damage when you transplanted it.
Yeah, I've noticed, like you're saying, Tiger, transplanting citrus from the nursery, when you take it out of the pot and put it in the ground. I've had some trees take like 2 years, and then all of a sudden they just explode. And,
like you see no growth.
Yeah,
for it's 2 like the years, same tree, right? Yeah, so true.
Yeah, water, fertilize, it's not doing anything.
And that's the other thing too. Fertilize, right? Normally when you put fertilizer on a plant, you see this explosion of growth, and you're like, oh, it's fine. People will fertilize that citrus, and it will just stay there, and it won't do anything. John and Bonnie wrote, any hints on planting daylilies in a border bed?
Well, before we answer that question from John, he had asked the previous hour about Australian finger limes.
Oh, yeah.
And if there was a difference in caring for them, watering, fertilizing, compared to regular citrus. And all I can say is that in my experience, it's the same type of care. Mm-hmm. I have and actually my Australian finger lime's probably doing better than any of my citrus right now. It's doing really well. You just got to be careful when you get near it, because they really bite.
It almost, when they talk about like things that like shoot out spines,
Yeah.
but it's like not true because
Right.
You mean
things
like
don't-
porcupines?
Yeah, they say, oh, porcupine don't shoot out
They
spines.
don't
No,
shoot
they don't
their
shoot out
quills.
spines.
Like
It's
cholla
it
cactus,
just
right?
feels like they shoot it out at
Yeah.
you, right?
Right.
Finger lime is like that. Like, you walk by it and you feel like you just got shot by something.
Yeah.
There's
Sharp too.
So
sharp
sharp.
needles. Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say, with all that bad press that we just gave it, one of the most exciting citrus that you can own.
Yeah.
In terms of harvesting that, opening them up, being able to incorporate that lime flavor, that citrus zest into
Boba
any
is
meal.
what you call it,
Oh,
right?
yes. Yeah. Little
it's like.
explosions of citrus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like little tapioca bubbles.
I'm a huge fan of finger limes. I should get one. I need to get one this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think mine took a couple years before it started fruiting. Now
Yeah.
it fruits on a regular basis.
And is yours one of the ones with the blackish fruit, or is it just the green?
No, it's green.
Okay.
You know,
'Cause
in
they
Aus-
have ones that are black. I
Well, in
think, too.
Australia, they have all different hybrids, and they have pink. They have red, yellow.
Really?
A lot
Yeah,
of-
I've never seen a yellow.
Yeah, a lot of different color finger limes.
Well, that's neat.
I wonder if it was yellow, if it should be a finger lemon.
Yeah. Daylilies then. We'll go
Okay,
to a
yeah,
second
back to
question.
daylilies.
Well,
We got about a minute just for the next break.
Oh,
Okay.
then we've got to remember to carry it over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But,
I'll keep you on track.
What would be why would there be a difference in planting daylilies in a border bed anywhere else? So, when we get back from the break, we'll get into what a daylily is and a couple of varieties and see some tips on planting them.
All right.
We have a minute still.
What?
How
You
can
said
we
that-
have? You said
you
that
said
a
that like
minute
30
ago.
seconds
I
ago.
just said 1 minute. I said we got a minute.
No, you said a minute, and then we talked for about 30 or 40 seconds. And
All
then
right,
you said
Bryan.
again, we have another minute.
Do you know we should let people in on a secret? Because we're trying to buy some time, right? So we're doing this fake little back and forth debate
I'm
or
not
argument
fake.
here.
I am not fake right
Tiger-
now.
Tiger-
I'm very
Tiger-
confused.
And actually, I would have answered a question if you would have said we have a minute. Can we just finish a quick question?
You know what? I didn't realize sitting in the middle was so dangerous between the both of you.
What was that old game called?
Who's on first?
No, something in the middle.
Okay, you know what? How about that? We're just in time for the next break. That worked out perfectly. Good timing. A break for Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live. Back after these messages on Garden America. Behind the cameras, if you're watching us on Facebook Live.
Sun's coming out.
The sun is breaking through.
Yeah.
And it's no longer a foggy day in London, a foggy day in Serra Mesa.
Okay, we're back to daylilies, right?
Yes, daylilies.
Planting them in the border. I plant daylilies in my rose beds. I think they're one of the best plants for doing that. And they're also, I would say, one of the easiest plants to transplant, right? You can divide them easily. I think I gave you a bunch, Tiger. I don't know if you still have
I still
them.
have them. Yep.
Yeah, there's
They're in my
so
border.
many different varieties. Yeah, but I think they're easy to take care of. The one problem, and I think they're working on new hybrids, but in California, probably, well, maybe it's actually nationwide, the daylily rust
Yes.
is a new disease that happened
Is it
about
sweeping the country?
10 years ago.
Just California.
Yeah.
It's California.
And I don't think there's any cure for it. Bryan, you experimented with WD-40. That did nothing for the rust.
Well, at first it did, but after about 2 weeks, nothing. So it's the initial, acceptance that, hey, this is going to work.
But I guess the good thing about the rust is it's only in the spring, just like with roses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No relation, by the way.
It's not rust like rust roses. Yes.
Right. There's different varieties or species of rust. In this one, only attacks daylilies.
Yeah.
So anyway, it does grow out of it. So by the summer, pull out all those old rust leaves, or you could use a systemic fungicide, maybe.
I have to admit, I didn't know there were so many varieties of rust.
Oh yeah.
I thought rust is rust.
No.
Could we do a whole show on it?
And
Rust-
it never sleeps.
It it doesn't rust. I don't get it. Anyway,
I'm into rust now. He lost his train of thought.
He did. He totally did.
well, I was going to say that a lot of diseases sound have similar names, but they're specific to host plants.
Right.
You know, like
So rose rust would be different than something else called
than
rust.
a different type of rust.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever know anybody named Rusty? Usually kids with red hair, right?
Yeah.
Rusty.
That's one of the hit songs from the Yoopers, though, is Rusty Chevrolet.
The Yoopers?
Yeah. Have you not heard? You're a radio guy.
I know. If I haven't heard, what decade?
The Yoopers, I think they're timeless.
But what? No.
They're from northern Michigan.
Well, they're from John's backyard.
Yeah, but Yoopers. So for Upper Peninsula, they're called the Yoopers. And they had 2 hit songs. They had Rusty Chevrolet in the second week of Deer Camp.
And what radio station played these songs?
Oh, everyone played them.
Okay. All
No.
right. We're off topic.
I'm sorry.
All right.
All right, John. But back to John. You were commenting on how much you love daylilies, and
Yeah.
to answer John's question about any tips for planting daylilies in border bed. You mentioned the rust. I will say that I've also found that they like water. So it's good to plant it in an area that's going to be a little bit more wet than maybe some of the other parts of the garden, just because they have a tendency to grow a little bit better for me, in that kind of environment. They do like fertilizer too, or they like nitrogen. So
I think this is a good time of year to divide them also.
Yeah.
Because the ground's easy to dig in.
They're
semi-dormant.
I was going to say they shouldn't get any stress.
Right.
Yeah. So,
also have edible roots.
do they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They're like a little tuber. You put it in a salad kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they are
Interesting.
edible.
Just don't cut one off.
Kevin wrote, would you agree that key limes or Mexican limes and kumquats are the easiest citrus to grow in large pots like half barrels? And I will agree with that, Kevin, because those trees you mentioned are also usually the most compact citrus. Usually a lime tree is going to be more compact than an orange tree. A kumquat tree is going to be more compact than a lemon tree. And because of that reason, they grow in those barrels, much easier than, a Meyer lemon or a grapefruit or anything like that.
Those and calamondins.
Uh-huh.
Calamondins are extremely easy. In Michigan in the 60s, actually in cold weather climates in the 60s, during the houseplant craze when it started, a big thing was miniature orange trees. And what they really were was calamondin oranges. But, you can imagine if there's 6 feet of snow outside and you've got this citrus in your house with these little tiny oranges.
I have a question for Lisa because she asked us to ask, or she didn't ask us a question. She made a comment, and she said, "I'm ready to take out my ornamental pomegranate for just that reason. The thorns are crazy." My question is, why anybody plants a ornamental pomegranate? You know what I mean? Like I get why people would plant a ornamental.
It's exactly what we were just talking about with the miniature oranges.
That's why they planted the ornamental pomegranate?
Right, because they're small, right?
Yeah.
They're dwarfs.
They do well inside.
And you
No.
think you're getting a pomegranate, but you get a little
But I'm not a huge fan of pomegranate bushes in general. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get why you might have like an ornamental pear.
Even more reason for you to want a pomegranate, a miniature pomegranate, ornamental one, is because you don't like the fruit anyway.
No, I don't like the bushes, the plants, the plant. Like you know what I
The
mean?
flowers are kind of pretty.
Yeah,
They're drought
yeah, you're
tolerant.
right. I forgot about the flower.
And there's flowering pomegranates.
Yeah.
Some with the variegated
Really,
flowers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I forgot about the flower.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about the plant itself. I've never been like a pomegranate plant.
I don't
person.
think you should have put the bad mouth on them because
I know.
they're great plants.
Wow, you put the bad mouth on
Lisa just shut off the show on me.
Well, now let's get back to what
she wrote. I love the flowers.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lisa. Great flowers.
Okay, you compared it to the thing they used to call miniature oranges that were growing inside.
Yeah, calamondin.
But they do well. You can grow them inside, obviously, then, right?
If you live
Yeah,
in
but
Michigan.
they kind of struggle.
Okay.
If you live in Michigan.
Well, a lot of those
Okay,
plants.
that was my Okay,
a
go
lot of
ahead.
those plants. What you do is put them out in the summer
And then bring them in.
and bring them in the winter. So in the winter, it's just keeping them at the survival stage.
Now, if you brought them inside, they say music sometimes helps plants grow. Do you think that these plants would thrive with the Yoopers?
Oh, I don't know about that.
You played Yooper music? They
I
might
used
do
to have
well.
a friend that lived in Canada that
It's a group.
grew citrus trees in the ground.
In Canada?
Yeah.
Did they put like a dome over them?
They built a greenhouse over them.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I was going to say right next to the hockey rink.
But, not keeping them in pots, actually put them in the ground, and they had this entire greenhouse with just citrus.
Yeah. I mean, that's where we get into the real
Controlled environment.
The real fancy people. If you were in England or someplace like that, you call
He's
it
a
your
fancy boy.
your orangery, your orangery.
Your citrusry.
My key lime had a bumper crop this year. It wants to drop all its fruit at once, then starts blooming again. Good thing the fruit stores well.
Wow, that's Lisa's in Reading too, right? I would think they might not
Linda.
be hardy.
Linda.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Linda, but Linda's in Reading. And I think that, of course, my mind just went blank. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I was thinking that maybe they're not hardy there.
Oh,
But-
the key lime?
Yeah, because I don't know why. I just thought they were more tender, but apparently not.
I guess not.
Because it gets pretty cold in Reading.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jose, California sunset is such an awesome ornamental pomegranate. Look at the
right?
people
Yeah.
like
all it
have
takes
strong feelings about.
is to
Yeah.
come up with a subject, and then you go right to the heart of that person that's so passionate about it.
Yes, I agree with you, Jose.
Yeah. John,
As
what-
we were saying, pomegranates are one of the best plants.
Yeah.
They're so, even the ornamental ones are so beautiful.
And not just the flowers, the entire plant.
One more citrus question. What pests eat citrus, or did someone just strip my tree? Had a barrel with a mandarin, and now they're all gone. Squirrels? Oh, what pests don't eat citrus, John? I mean, it could be grasshoppers. It could be.
Is she
all
talking
kinds of
about the
things.
fruit?
No, I think talking about the
Because with the fruit, rats is the
Rat-
Well, I was going to say the fruit, the rest, but if it's a leaf,
Yeah.
don't you see if it's from the outside or
just
the inside?
stripped my tree. Yeah, it could have been rats. I mean, grasshoppers. I
Right.
mean, so much
On
stuff.
leaves.
We had a rat eat the Dieffenbachia that you gave me, and
Really?
also ate the Wandering Jew that John gave me.
Dumb.
Again?
No.
No,
I'm just saying at
no.
the same time.
Oh,
We
gotta take a break.
Okay.
Yeah,
Take a break.
Dieffenbachia. That's
Gotcha.
the key word when we return.
That's the
Dieffenbachia.
key word.
Dieffenbachia. We're going to take a break. We've got one more segment. Man, time flies fast. One more segment for Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live. This is Garden America. If you've stayed with us this long, congratulations. You are a trooper, be it Biz Talk Radio or Facebook Live. We've reached the final segment, the epilogue, John. As
well, I brought a couple plants I wanted to show too.
you waited a long time. Talk about a tease. Let's talk
There's
about those
been
plants.
so
Now,
much-
we've got about seven and a half minutes.
Yeah, Tiger's watching over there. I don't know. Can people see these?
Um,
No?
hold it up.
Hold-
No, I got you now.
Okay. Well, anyway, excuse me. I had mentioned how I picked up a couple plants in Idaho, and one was this miniature aeonium, which I'm sure is kind of common, but I've never seen it down here. Have you sold these, Tiger?
I don't know if I have,
Okay.
but it's really cool looking.
Aeonium.
Yeah, aeonium. Anyway, of course they grow them indoors up in Idaho, but I'm going to put this in my landscape, and I just thought it was kind of cool. Aeonium is I'm trying to think. It comes from a Greek word called aeonia or Ionia, something like that. Means immortal, everlasting, evergreen. So anyway, that's where aeoniums come from.
And then aeonium is one of those not weird, but succulents that, people, we talked about this before, where a lot of succulents, they have almost like a reverse dormancy, where they kind of go dormant in the
that's
summertime.
A good point.
And
that's
not
what this does.
in the wintertime. And what happens is that little rosette shrinks.
In the summer,
It
yeah.
shrinks into the summer, like
You
to
think
like
it's
nothing.
dying.
You do, and people throw water on it
Yeah.
and fertilize it.
Good way to
But-
kill it.
But then, right now,
Right.
they just they just thrive. They
And
look
then
so beautiful.
After Christmas, they start blooming, right?
Yeah.
You get those yellow blooms, especially if you have the Aeonium Schwarzkopf. You get that dark purple foliage with
Contrast.
a yellow bloom
Yeah.
contrasting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the other thing I picked up, and Tiger told me he's seen it before, but
So John didn't get it as excited after I said that.
well, I could only get it in this combination planter, which I'm going to end up taking apart. But the jade plant in there, I had never seen one with that variegation. And it's kind of surprising because when it was in Idaho, this creamy part of the leaf was pure white.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've been acclimating these to being outdoors, so putting it out in the sun has turned that creamier. So I'm thinking because of the hot weather, it might be a defense mechanism.
I would imagine you would have put it under your eaves right
No.
outside your sliding glass door before you brought it outside.
That's what I should have done, but I put it out in full sun because I thought the weather was cooler, which it was when we went to Idaho, but we came back. Now we've had those 80-degree days.
Now talk about that a little bit, because this is something people need to know, that people think succulents are full sun plants, no matter what it is.
Right.
Like they think, oh, it loves to be out
That's
there.
drought
Loves the
tolerant.
heat, loves
in the full
heat.
sun,
Yeah.
loves the heat. But the thing that people don't realize is that the coloring actually gets more striking usually with a little bit of protection, right?
Depending on what it is, like Echeverias, a lot of those prefer partial shade.
Yeah, and the colors can just be
Yeah.
so striking. But when you put it out in the sun, it kind of like,
It bleaches it. The sun bleaches it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of does.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe if my other jade plants are in full sun, I'm thinking if I put this where it's going to get partial shade, it might lighten
Turn
up a
more
little
white.
bit.
See, to
Yeah.
me, it looks crowded in there.
Well, I'm going to pull them all apart.
I hope so.
Yeah, I only bought it because they didn't have any
One
separate.
plant. He bought 8 plants for the one.
Yeah, I can use the others.
Yeah, of course.
So anyway,
Those
that
are
was
those are the kind of things
Aeonium.
that John comes back from his trip with.
Yeah, those were for the people who were asking last week if I had brought anything back. And let's see. John said that the could also be raccoons,
Yes, it
which
could
he's
be.
had a problem with, and maybe they've come back.
And
So it was
especially
the
on
fruit.
your-
Was the fruit
was
he
the
was
fruit.
talking about, right?
And if you have if you have a lemon tree and your raccoons have scurvy, I mean, they're just trying to protect themselves.
Years ago, when we lived in Alpine for a brief time, and you had a place up there, a business at one time.
Yeah.
The night we moved in, it was 1:00 in the morning. We're bringing boxes in. We're bringing all these things in. The sliding glass door is open. I look outside on the patio, and there's these raccoons, a family of raccoons, and they've got their hand up.
Yeah, they were
like-
waiting for you to move in.
I'm like, what? Find out the lady that used to live there would feed them. There was a plum tree outside. They lived in the plum tree, and they were getting fat.
Oh yeah.
And when they did a number on the plum tree, they'd come up to the sliding glass
They'd
door.
expect you.
Give me some more plums.
And they only had Trader Joe plums. They were like,
That's all they would eat.
we only eat plums from Trader Joe or Whole Foods.
But that verifies the possibility of raccoons.
Yeah, definitely.
Tanya wants to know if variegated plants in general like less sun. It depends. You might say that could be a general rule of thumb, but there's a lot of exceptions. Because if you think about variegated agaves, they thrive in full sun.
Yeah.
The more,
Euonymus,
yeah,
different
Euonymus.
shrubs.
Yeah.
Very hardy shrubs.
yeah. So
But you bring up the issue that variegated plants also can be very sensitive, right, to the sun. They can burn
Right.
much easier because they lack
Right.
the
Chlorophyll.
chlorophyll in
Right.
there.
Hey, a quick, just off topic for a second. We rarely do this.
Never.
Never go off topic.
But I did want to thank all the people who asked for copies of the chapters from my book to send back comments. I've gotten a lot of really helpful comments. I even started the new book, and I got a comment from Tiger today on whether I had done it properly. So I do thank you, and I apologize to the people who were on Facebook Live last week and said I want to read it, but did not send me their email. and I don't have your email.
Yeah.
So I couldn't send it to you, and I don't see Carla on today, but especially Carla, I did have an old email address from her, and I tried to send her a copy, and it didn't go through. And then
Go ahead.
then I
We're
also
getting close to wrapping up. So
okay. I also wanted to mention quickly that it's a fiction book.
I was gonna say
it's
that, yeah.
not a gardening book.
Yeah.
And for the people who were surprised that it wasn't
No.
about gardening, I apologize.
that's it. Well, thank you so much. That's going to do it. The first experiment here in Tiger's Pool House and getting Ed Lifo online. We'll have some more guests coming up in the very near future.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, those on Biz Talk Radio. Thank you to Stephanie for keeping us on the air nationally, and those of you on Facebook Live, those that listen to us on Biz Talk Radio. For the entire crew, I'm Bryan Main, Tiger Palafox, John Begnasco. We'll do it again, not next week, but in 2 weeks. Correct, Tiger?
Correct.
We're off next week, back in 2 weeks. This is Garden America.